you own it. Let every mile bring a smile, yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Road to Life podcast with Meredith and Craig. And this week, we've got a really cool episode. We're talking about
emotional detachment. Feels like kind of a big concept. Really what we're talking about is what can sometimes happen in relationships when we're not really tuned in. Sometimes we end up feeling like ships passing in the night. We end up feeling like we live in the same house, but we almost are living lives, like parallel, separate lives.
And it's something that just happens over time, slowly. Like the lack of emotional intimacy, we just disconnect and we just start to pull away.
Yeah.
And the feelings just start to dwindle.
We almost like live on the surface of our lives and we talk about bills and logistics, but we don't ever dig deeper. It's what often ends up feeling like roommates.
Yeah.
Like when married couples end up feeling like roommates, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah. And to be very clear, it's not when you're an independent person that goes and does your own hobbies, but you come back to each other. Like, it's really about losing the emotional connection with the other person. So not to be confused with, you've got two fairly independent people who are sharing their lives together, but still have that bond. That's not what we're talking about.
I think a good example of that is
Layla Hormozi.
Yeah, Layla and Alex Hormozi.
Yeah.
Like, they're super independent people who like have their own thing. Like, they are very independent within their relationship, have their own goals, and they're doing their own things. I don't live in their relationship, but from the outside looking in, they have a very strong relationship with shared goals and they're supporting each other, but they are very independent
they
too.
still share emotionally with each other and still let each other in with the problems that they're having and the things they're going through. Whereas what we're talking about is the removal of that.
Yeah.
You're going through life just passing ships in the night, not actually sharing what's going on with you and getting into that level of emotional.
It's almost like, to help people get there, like if you've ever, sat on the couch next to your spouse, TV's on, you're both on your phones, it's kind of scrolling, you haven't even really talked to each other at all day. You're sitting here in the same room, but still not talking to each other. And sometimes you have that sense of like, how did I get here?
Yeah. And it's a regular occurrence. It's not just like having an off day, an off day. It's every night this is our experience. We have dinner quietly, don't talk, go to the next room, turn on the TV, and sit down on opposite ends of the couch and scroll our phones until bedtime, where we go into bed, lay down, and have back-to-back, go to sleep, and say nothing to each other. That is what we're talking about.
Yeah, that is emotional detachment. And that happens when one or both partners pulls away from the relationship emotionally.
So I think we just walked through some key signs. It's a lack of emotional intimacy. It's, again, feeling like roommates. It's not having really meaningful conversations. If the most meaningful conversation you have in the day is like, who's picking up the kids tomorrow?
What's for supper?
Or what's for dinner? Or did you pay that phone bill? Then we're looking at some emotional detachment.
If vulnerability is missing from those conversations, that's what we're talking about.
I think another really big hint that we're going down this road is we're more interested in spending all our time on our hobbies. Like, if I spend all my time in the garage tinkering on a project versus having a conversation with you, or if I'm going out and golfing or playing basketball or doing absolutely anything, hobbies, work, anything to distract me from having a conversation or getting emotional connection with you, then that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a gradual process. You don't go to bed one day feeling very connected and wake up the next day with a brick wall between you.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not what happens.
It just goes slowly, brick
it's
by brick.
brick by brick.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot easier to kick that wall down when there's only a couple bricks in it. And when it gets built really high, it gets a little harder. So it's helpful to recognize it early so you can kick that wall down.
And so what are the different bricks? Like, how do we get here? Like, how do we build that wall? What are the bricks that go into that wall?
Big one, unresolved conflict. Conflict, we've talked about it before, is an important part of any relationship. No two people are going to agree on every single thing in their life, and if that's what's happening, there's something else wrong.
Trust us.
it's impossible.
Yeah.
You cannot agree on everything in life. And so you have to be able to resolve conflicts.
It's interesting, actually, because we have an ongoing disagreement. It's not a big disagreement, but
This is going to be good. I don't know where you're going with
we
this.
have a difference of opinion right now on something. I don't want to go too much detail because of some of the sensitivities around it, but there's 2 plans of action that we're considering. I have a higher risk tolerance than you. I have a higher risk tolerance.
Yes.
For whatever, like, it's just my risk dial is turned up a notch or 2 more than yours.
Correct.
And so we're currently going through a situation that we can't really discuss in public right now, but there's something that we're going through, and your risk dial is turned lower. So we've identified a couple plans of action, and one of them is a little bit less risky, and that's the one you're in favor of.
Correct.
And there's one that I'm maybe leaning a little bit more
Open
towards.
to, for
More
sure.
open to, at least. But it's higher risk, for sure. It could burn us. But on the other side, it could be much better for us, too. But we have not had a disagreement about it. We have not had, like, high emotional feelings about it. And at the end of the day, there's a 99% chance we're just going to go with the one that you're comfortable with, because we can't go through and execute on a plan that we're both not comfortable with.
Right.
If I can get you to a place of comfortability on the other one,
Totally.
maybe we get there. But I don't think that's going to be the case, if I'm being honest.
Probably not.
So,
Because time's running out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
for
so
sure.
I think we're probably going to end up doing the other one,
Right.
which I have to be okay with. At the end of the day, it's really about making sure that we resolve this, and we're going to talk it through, and we're going to land the plane on one of the options. But it's not something that we're going to either leave unresolved, or I'm just going to bully you into a decision that you're going to resent. If it really goes badly on the other end, then there's going to be a resentment there that we just cannot have. It's something that I just found interesting. It just came to me just now that.
Yeah, and I think it's a good example, because if we were to either leave this conflict unresolved, like not bring this to resolution, which in this particular instance, it has to get resolved. We've got a ticking clock on it. So it has to get resolved one way or another. It may not, to your point, you could try and bully me into a solution, and then there's going to be resentment. So that's what happens for a lot of people. Or the conflict goes completely unresolved, and you're constantly churning on a conflict that's simmering beneath the surface. Either way.
And if it doesn't get resolved, the next time something like this comes up, hopefully it will not ever, ever come up, especially in this case that we're talking about. But if it ever does, and then you go back because it's unresolved, you're going to go back to this conflict and say, yeah, but remember the last time when the da-da-da-da. And the hurt feelings come back.
That's right. And when the resentment builds, when the situation's not resolved, when things don't get repaired after an argument, when you feel like you've been dismissed, invalidated, that's a brick. Every time a disagreement doesn't get resolved, it doesn't get repaired, it's another brick in the wall. Every time you don't feel heard, anytime you don't feel seen, every time you don't feel appreciated.
This is a big one.
Another brick in the wall.
We hear it all the time where one spouse is like, I do everything around this house. I do all these things. I get the kids. I do all the things. And it's
Invisible.
It's never acknowledged, never seen. I just feel
Unappreciated, invisible.
totally unseen.
Yeah, it's actually
One of the
probably the biggest, because it's the most insidious. It's the least obvious. Like the conflicts, the arguments and stuff, those are obvious things. We don't always have the skills to resolve them, is what needs to change in that. But the feeling unappreciated, unseen, unheard, undervalued, that is sneaky common under the surface, and that builds a lot of bricks in the wall between you.
Yeah. Another one is just kind of like what we're going through now, is life happens. You have
There's
to be
external pressures.
Yeah, there's external stuff going on in your life that you just allow to take over and take all your emotional bandwidth, so you have nothing left for the other person. So you have to be really intentional about making sure that you're dealing with the stuff, the stressful stuff that life throws at you, but do so in a way that you're still connected and you're going through it as a team.
Yeah.
And getting each other's opinions, thoughts, concerns, fears, all the things considered.
A big one for this particular external pressure and stress of life is work. Whether you own your own business, whether you're in the corporate, whatever your deal is, that's a big external pressure that can create ripples in your relationship. And if you're always prioritizing that external pressure, you're always leaning into that external pressure and leaning away from the relationship, that's putting bricks in the wall because it kind of feeds the unseen, unappreciated, unheard.
And we've said it 100 times. If we've said it once, we've said it 100 times, is that vulnerability is the superpower to any relationship. And so emotional disconnection, another brick goes in the wall when you aren't vulnerable, when you don't share what is going on with you, what you're afraid of, what you're going through, you're anxious about, your dreams, all the things that are going on internal to you. Every time you're like, yeah, I should share that, and you don't, that's adding another brick to the wall.
Yeah, it's avoiding intimacy. Every time you avoid that difficult conversation, that uncomfortable conversation, you're putting a brick in the wall. Yeah. And I love it. I feel like we've said it a bunch of times. I said it on a call earlier today that Layla Hormozi says, if you think having that uncomfortable conversation is hard, wait till you see the result of not having that uncomfortable conversation.
This is what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
The wall builds.
Yeah.
And you get emotionally disconnected. And it's really subtle. Like we've talked about, it's not having the difficult conversation. It's the bullying someone into or not resolving a conflict. It's not showing up and appreciating someone for the things they've done. It's the little things that piled up over time build this wall. So it's very subtle. It doesn't come in with
there's no neon
bang.
Sign on the wall.
Like, hey, this is a problem. You got to deal with this right now.
Deal with this wall right here.
It's over time, you just notice that you're sitting further on the couch. You're spending more time in scroll land.
You're touching each other less.
Less time in...
Let's dig into that. What does it feel like when that wall is being built? What does it feel like?
Early on, it's just feeling off and not really knowing why. Like, there's something... It's like if you were to describe it, it's like, our energy's off. We're misaligned. There's something going on, and I'm not really sure why or how or what to do about it.
You just don't feel like yourself.
There's something going on.
The relationship is off.
I think that's early on.
I think there's also like a sense of going through the motions, and it's probably a little bit along the same line. Something is off, but you
still love the person.
Yeah.
I love them, but something's off, and we're
I'm
just kind of going through the
motions. Like, we're not going deeper into it.
Yeah, but I think the more time that goes by in that state,
without having that uncomfortable conversation about what's going on,
without dealing with it, it becomes more isolating. You're just more on your own. You just feel like you're dealing with your stuff and you can't talk to the other person, so you just withdraw even more, and it just piles on top of each other. It's like you're lonely, you're in a relationship with someone, but you've never felt lonelier in your life. Like, you just feel like you're on an island by yourself and you don't know what to do about it.
And that's the loneliest feeling.
It's one thing to be lonely and not in a relationship, but when you're in the relationship and you feel lonely, there's not a more lonely feeling than that.
I think it also shows up as like less interest in what's going on with the other person. Like, you're less interested in what's going on with them. You're more caught up in your own stuff. There's less of a feeling of the other person being interested in your life and what's going on with you. Yeah,
it's withdrawing. We talked about it. It's like spending more time in the garage tinkering on the project than spending time in the house with your spouse.
Yeah, more time at work.
Work, hobbies, whatever it ends up being. And it's just no more touching, no more physical intimacy. It's really basically all intimacy is gone. Physical, emotional, all of it.
Yeah.
It basically just starts to dry up.
Yeah. Okay. So anyone's feeling like, ooh, that hits close to home. Yeah. I think I'm feeling a brick wall. I'm feeling off. I'm feeling like we're just going through the motions. We certainly haven't been physically intimate in a long time. This is me. What do I do?
Yeah. We just need to start acknowledging it. Like, let's just attack it. Like,
call out the elephant in the room.
Yeah. So if you're seeing it now, like, it's not too late. Let's deal with it now. And no shame, no guilt. Let's not live in that. Let's just understand that that's where we are.
And it happens. Like, it can happen to anyone easily when you're not super tuned into it.
Totally.
So no judgment, no shame.
But you just can't do anything until you know about it.
Yeah.
So now that you know about it, it's time to start taking action on it. So we need to re-engage. We need to bring that person. We need to start really taking down that wall, brick by brick.
Do the work.
Do the work. So you have to make a commitment that you're going to rebuild that connection. Like, it starts now, awareness, commitment, and then just start with, we just did an episode on bids for connection. That's slowly but surely, those little bids for connection and leaning towards is how you're going to start to take down that wall.
And I think part of the awareness that we need to just be super clear on is calling awareness to it for both of you and having that uncomfortable conversation and both of you committing to do the work.
100%. Yeah. You're going to get a lot further faster when both people are rowing in the same direction.
Yeah. One of you can start, but it is so much easier when you can have that uncomfortable conversation, to acknowledge the distance, acknowledge the wall, and both of you commit to taking it down and starting with the small things.
Yeah. It's not easy. It's hard to have that, especially if you've been emotionally disconnected for a while, to then go from that to, hey,
let's have a really uncomfortable
we're
conversation.
struggling here. Like, this hasn't gone well. Like, we're further and further apart on the couch. We haven't talked about anything real in weeks, months, whatever it's been. And to have that conversation, to start it's tough.
Take some courage, vulnerability.
But we did an episode on having a difficult conversation, on how to have a difficult conversation. So we can maybe link that in the show notes to give people some tactics on how to re-engage to start the process. But it's really important to start that process now that you've been made aware of it. If you don't want it to get worse, the wall get bigger, and get to a point of no return, you have to deal with it now.
Yep. I think another piece of it is, yes, the bids for connection. Yes, start with the small things, the appreciation and the gratitude. Also, resolve the unresolved conflicts.
Yeah, what are the things that are hanging out there? The last fight you had, that maybe that's where the bricks started to build from, and you just haven't gotten back to each other. Yeah, you got to resolve that.
You got to resolve it. And that's not easy. It's tough. We've done an episode on that too, so we'll link to that in the show notes. But it's important to resolve the conflict, and the key to resolving the conflict is curiosity, not blame, not judgment, not shame. Compassionate curiosity.
It's one of my favorite quotes from Ted Lasso. Be curious, not judgmental.
So simple.
Yep. In any conflict, just be curious. Just understand where the other person's coming from. Don't judge it. Don't judge yourself. Just be kind and curious. You got to lead with vulnerability. We got to rebuild the connection. Being vulnerable is having that difficult conversation, but we got to keep it going. Like, once you've had that difficult conversation, you're going to have more difficult conversations. You're going to get more vulnerable. You're going to share the things that scare you, the things that are going on in your brain that, like, I'm worried about us. Like, we've been talking about kids and logistics and all the things, but we have not had a date night in 3 months. We have not done this. We have not had sex in whatever it's been. It's really leading with vulnerability and reconnecting and sharing what's going on with you, and sharing your feelings, sharing the good too, sharing your dreams. Like, maybe you haven't talked about your dreams together. Like, having a sit down with your partner and exploring what your combined dreams are is a huge way to reconnect.
Yeah.
It's such positive feelings.
For sure. We talk about like having a weekly connection conversation where you do get vulnerable and share what's really going on with you, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the things. So maybe we'll also include that guide in the show notes for people to reference.
And another one is that it's hard to do this alone sometimes, right? Like, when we get the wall to a place where it's like, oh man, this is a huge wall. How am I going to take these bricks down? You don't have to do it alone. Like, there's podcasts, there's books, but there's also hands-on help. Like, you can get coaching. We've got a mastermind that deals exactly with this, and we'd love to talk with you if you feel compelled to share with us what you're going through. We can see if there's something we can do to help you. But there is, whether it's us or somebody else, it doesn't matter to us. At the end of the day, we'll be fine. It's just, you need to get the help. If you don't know how to bring down that wall, or you're struggling to do so, just go out and get the help wherever you feel compelled to get it. But there's people out there that can help you bring that wall down. And so I would really urge you to get that help, get that expertise, and don't do it alone, because there's more strength. There's strength in numbers, for sure.
Once you do that, once you bring the wall down, like, get the help, bring down the wall, like, your relationship can feel completely different.
Night and day.
Like, literally the difference between night and day. You can rebuild that connection, and stronger than ever. The more difficult conversations you have, the stronger your relationship's going to be. The more shit you go through together, the stronger your relationship's going to be. So if you've got a wall between you, and then you do what you need to do to knock that wall down, your relationship will be stronger for it. So do the work, get the help, take it down.
And that's a really important point, because I think a lot of people are like at a point where it's like, oh my God, the wall's so big, we can never come back from this. But the opposite is true, because when you both get together and you take down that wall together, it strengthens your bond.
Yeah.
You're going to be stronger.
In a better place.
You're going to be stronger than you ever thought possible.
Yeah.
Because you as a team did that thing.
Yeah.
And it makes your story that much better.
For sure.
When you have a comeback story,
Yeah.
when you have like a we came from the bottom, now we're here story, that strengthens your bond.
Yeah. Stronger bond, stronger communication, more trust, more connection, more intimacy, all the things.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
I was going to shout out Drake.
Canadian.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Okay, so this week, challenge. Take one small step towards reconnecting with your partner. Something small. It could be a bid for connection. It could be having a difficult conversation. It could be putting your phone down when you watch TV.
Yeah, I think it really depends on where you are on the emotional disconnection spectrum. If it's, we're at a place where it's like, whew, we're in trouble. Like if that's the thought that's going through your head right now, then don't just dip your toe in the water. This is important. Dive in and have the difficult conversation. If you're, just feeling like you're just starting to put the first brick in, then put your phone down and lean into your partner on the couch and rub each other's backs or something while you're watching your episode. But do what's going to make a difference for you. If you've got a big wall, let's start to take that thing down.
So that's your challenge for this week. That and share this episode. Share it with your spouse, because then you can both get on the same page for how you're going to rebuild or bring the wall down.
And if you need some help, we're always here for you. If you want to just reach out and talk us through what you're going through, we can see if you're a fit for the mastermind or for the coaching or whatever it is. But again, there's help out there, whether it's with us or with somebody. Just know that there are people out there who love and want to do big things in this world and want to help you. So just lean into that. Community is everything. So love you. Bye.
Before we wrap up, we just want to remind you about something really special we've created, the Infinite Relationship Mastermind. It's like a VIP backstage pass for anyone looking to level up any and all of the relationships in their life. And we're not just talking about the relationship with your spouse, though it does include that one. We're also talking about the relationships with yourself, your friends, your business partners, your family, all the important people in your life. This mastermind is for anyone ready to take all of their relationships to a whole new level. Whether you're thriving and you want to thrive even more, or you're feeling a little stuck and need some extra love and support.
We host exclusive live courses. We create a safe, no judgment space where members can just open up and honestly just have a ton of fun connecting with other amazing people who are building stronger relationships. And to be honest, the transformations we've seen are incredible, and it's exactly why we do what we do. It fills our heart like nothing else. Now, we are super protective of this community because it is all about trust, love, and support. So it's not for everybody. But if this does sound like it might tickle your fancy, then check out the link in the show notes and reach out to us if you have any questions. We'd love to chat and see if it's a fit for you. And as always, thank you so much for being a part of our journey on the road of life. And remember, you've got this, and we're here to help you every step of the way. So we'll see you next week.
Bye for now.
Road of life, yes, you own it. Let every mile